and welcome to the Booze Book Bideker.
Nice.
We have guest host Steve today. Welcome, Steve.
I have the loudest clap.
Yeah, be proud. Be proud about that clap.
Oh man. All right.
So we read Jimmy Corrigan, Smartest Kid on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Josh wanted to read a graphic novel, and I did a quick Google, and the Google told me that this is really good.
Yeah.
So we read this.
It's a downer though.
It's
A bit of a downer.
Time Magazine's 100 best novels in American English. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's just all sorts of wrong. It's just
Considering it's mostly pictures. But
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Time let me down, man.
Yeah.
Time let me
Would it be a
down.
novella? Anyways,
A graphic novella.
graphic. Yeah. Someone self-conscious about their illustrations.
Also, if you read the book, you might have noticed there were cutouts you could do. We might be participating in that throughout the episode, but we might not. It's just there as an option. So let's start with the 12 steps, shall we?
Indeed.
Step 1. Oh, well, 12 steps of the 12-step program. Okay, just to be clear. Step 1, be lame in your 30s. Jimmy's really lame. Like, meek, doesn't stand up for himself. Ugh, man, it's just like, you just want to shake this man. You just want to shake him.
You do.
Step 2, get a letter from your deadbeat dad. Eh. Step 3, avoid your mother, acquire answering machines.
That's right.
Step 4, have issues with superheroes screwing your mother. Good job. Good job on the shirt,
Yeah.
Steve. Good
Nice.
job.
I didn't even notice that. That's fantastic.
Step 5, get on the plane, fantasize about killing your dad. That was one thing. I was like, are we having a dream sequence now? I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
we're having a dream sequence now, because otherwise this is strange. Step 6, meet ass hat dad. Dad was an ass hat.
Yeah.
No. Okay, step 7, don't say much. Jimmy just sits there a lot and goes, well, I guess.
Exactly. I'm actually going to take on his whole persona for this entire episode.
Please don't.
I'm
It
just
would be
kidding.
bad for the show.
Yeah.
It would be really bad for the show.
No.
Main character.
Step 8, get hit while looking at a deer.
Yeah.
What
He
was-
was caught in the headlights.
Right?
Ah.
Good one.
Yeah.
That was deep. That was
Yeah.
deep. Boom, my mind was just blown. It changes the book. Step 9, want to call your mommy. Step 10, lots of backstory. We get to hear about all the Jimmy Corrigans, because he wasn't even Jimmy Corrigan Jr. He was like Jimmy Corrigan the third
Junior.
Junior. Yeah. Step 11, meet your sister. Step 12, dad dies. How long did he
Yeah.
know his dad? Like maybe a day or two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they meet once?
I hear that the author met his dad.
Yeah.
Did you read this on the internet?
I did.
For 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then he
That's pretty
ditched him the
sad.
second time they were
Yeah.
supposed to meet. Great dad.
Whew.
Very sad.
So, what'd you guys think?
Well, I was depressed for 2 weeks here. Yeah.
It's not much of a story there. There's a lot of pictures.
And a lot of the type was hard to read, like the.
I
the
actually had to
cursive.
buy a pair
Right.
of reading glasses for the first time
Really?
in my life to read how small. That's all the text is. And he would also write it extra small when he's being quiet, so it's
Right.
even tinier.
Yeah, it was hard to read.
Yeah.
It was really hard to read.
Yeah, but I do think he used the medium of graphic novel very well.
See, and this was my first graphic novel, so I had nothing to compare it
Which
to.
is kind of weird. Like, not all the strips are the same. There's some that are like giant pictures and some that are super small. It kind of adds to like the effect of almost how important something is in that step of the book. At least that's how I read it.
And he also did things where he would in the weekly strip in the newspaper when it first came out, he would slowly rotate
Right.
just a little bit at a time till the people had to start to go
Yeah.
like this to read the strip.
Wait, what strip when it first came out? What are you talking about?
It was actually printed in a alternative newspaper
Yeah, wasn't it a serial?
in Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it was a strip before it was a book?
Yeah, so that's
I didn't
he's
know.
getting a lot of credit
He
for
compiled
being
it
the
all
first
together.
novel, the first graphic novel, but he really just compiled his comic strip into a novel.
Yeah.
So it's
You
not
big cheater!
I know, it's not
You-
really.
What's his name?
Well,
What's his name?
Chris Ware.
Chris Ware. You're
Yeah.
a big cheater. I'm just kidding. We
he's just an entrepreneur.
didn't like it, but not for that reason. So-
So what were your favorite parts of the graphic novel?
Well, when he met his sister, that a little bit of that was heartwarming. Like, that was the only heartwarming part of the whole entire story. The rest was just about how dads are assholes and men are assholes and women are prostitutes. And
he had a good imagination. I mean, that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Who did? Oh, Jimmy Corrigan?
Jimmy, yeah.
The smartest kid on earth?
Smartest kid.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird that he refers to himself as a kid, though.
Does he refer to himself as a kid?
No, just in the title.
So Chris Ware refers to him as a kid.
But even meaning
because he acts like a big kid.
But
Well,
even
he
meaning his sister is sad because his dad was a better parent to the sister, to
Right.
the stepsister, than to him. And it was, adopted sister. So that was
He
sad.
realized his mistakes.
Yeah,
Maybe.
too late.
Too late, yeah. Just
Chris Ware did a good job with the body language with her. I was just like, I really felt like, she was exasperated, but you still had sympathy for her, and you know, like those scenes where she's like in the back of, she's like laying back in the chair and stuff. I don't know. I thought he did a good job expressing her with her body language.
What'd you think about the stuff where they went back and saw his grandfather back at the, was it the Chicago Expo?
I especially
1990s.
Yep.
I especially like the part where he screws the prostitute right next to Jimmy under the table. That was great. Real upper.
And did you get that the sister that he gets later on is actually really related to him?
I know, they do the little sperm
Yeah.
thing and the little. I'm like, wait, I'm confused. Where? What? Oh, okay. Was it really? Okay. So they were actually related.
Yeah.
It wasn't just an adoption, but they didn't know that.
Right.
Nobody knows that.
It's just a weird coincidence.
That's kind of weird.
You can do that in stories.
Can you?
Oh my gosh! So
There was just so much of this that struck me as this is a weekly strip, and
Oh,
not
right.
a novel.
Yeah.
see, and I never got that. But that's probably because I didn't know.
There'd be times where, okay, we're gonna have 7 or 8 pages of just buildings, pictures of malls,
Right.
and that, in a weekly paper you'd be going, okay, that's weird, but in the novel you're going, okay, why are these in here? It didn't do anything to move the story forward. Didn't do anything to.
Well, I like
Yeah.
I like the pictures of the the what's the word? The grandiosity, is that a word? Let's say it's a word. of the fair, the
Yeah.
buildings. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and how he went up there with the redheaded girl, and then later he actually went up there with his dad right before his dad ditches him.
Yep.
That was cold, man. And he's feeling so, oh my gosh, my dad really came through. I'm actually here at the fair.
It was a crafty way to ditch him. I'll
See
say
ya.
that.
Yeah.
No, I think it would have been interesting to read the book serialized as it originally was.
Yeah.
Like you were saying. I don't know. But it would be, I don't know. It's kind of confusing. I was confused in a lot of areas.
Well, I didn't know where to read. Am I supposed to be going down? Or I don't know.
Left to
that's a
right.
lot, yeah.
Left to right.
But it wasn't
I'm
always
just
left to
kidding.
right. It was not always left
That's
to
true.
right.
That's the
Yeah.
thing that makes us kind of innovative, is he did a lot
Right.
of. He would have arrows and take you. There'd be a comic strip inside the comic strip, and he always had. When the mother talked, she was always outside of. She didn't have speak bubbles. She came outside the frame, so there's more of a distance between Jamie and the mother because her text isn't even inside the
Oh,
picture.
I didn't pick up on
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Very cool.
so there's a lot of that going on. So why a lot of people say he's really innovative is that he came up with all these concepts of just kind of ripping apart the comic strip and putting it back together.
Right.
So that's some of that stuff's fun.
Steve, what was your favorite part?
Uh-oh.
No, it's not even a field sobriety test.
I think it's the.
It's just a question.
I think it's
Dun, dun, dun.
when he's in his office and he's feeling really bad, and he looks out and he sees Superman again, because that's
Right.
a reoccurring theme. Superman's on a building across the street. This is amazing to him. It's like, oh, he waves to him. It's like, hello. And then Superman leaps to his death. And it was just a guy dressed in a Superman costume committing suicide.
Yeah.
I get that it was the guy that was sitting in front of him the whole time, and he left a note that said, I've been sitting here for a year and you never once said hi to me. You don't even know who I am. And that was the guy who committed suicide.
Oh, I didn't pick up on
that.
Me neither. That makes a lot of sense now, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic that he
Yeah.
dressed up like Superman.
Right, but then other people were saying, no, that's just one of his fantasies of killing Superman. It's like, I don't think it was. Because
I know, it's like,
Superman
what's
was his
real and
hero.
what's not
I
real.
don't think
Right.
he wanted to kill Superman, even though Superman... Let's talk about Superman. The first
Ooh.
strip was him, the mother, meeting Superman, and
Tell your mom I had a real good time.
at an auto show. So he meets the mom at the auto show. Oh, he goes to the auto show. He wants to meet Superman. It's a different Superman because it's Super Dash Man and he wears a mask, so it's
Right.
not our Superman. But so he wants to meet him, gets his signature, and then mom picks him up and mom takes him back home and they have sex, and then so Jimmy has to go the next day or in the morning. He's having breakfast. And then,
Superman's all like, what are you doing up so early?
can I have some of that Captain Crunch? Oh, it's pretty good. Okay, tell your mom I had a real good time. And then he sneaks out, and so that sets up the whole rest of the novel.
Yep.
See, in my brain it was, tell your mom I had a real good
I'm sure he
time.
did, but he was sneaking out. It wasn't
Right.
like,
Yeah,
here's my number. And he's
right.
like,
Oh no, yeah, he tells Jimmy, no, I don't think she wants to wake up yet.
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh man.
It's very strange.
Yeah. So lots of prostitutes,
Mm-hmm.
lots of women who get screwed, even if they're not prostitutes. Except the sister. Like the sister was maybe the sister was the strongest character in that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I would
it
agree with
becomes
that. Or
less
female
sur-
character.
The whole book is surreal, and then when you get to the sister, it's like
Actually-
realistic.
Right.
Suddenly it becomes real life, which is weird
Mhm.
too.
I was gonna say she's the strongest female character, but
Yeah.
she was probably the strongest
she's
character
definitely was the
in the
strongest
book.
character.
Period.
She had the most dialogue.
You mean it wasn't Jimmy?
Jimmy, you need some
I
new
guess.
pants.
Yeah. He needs to walk straight. He
Yeah.
needs some backbone too.
Speak with confidence, Jimmy.
Exactly.
And what Jimmy looks like. What do we got there? So there's Jimmy.
He looks like
as
Stewie
a little
Griffin.
boy.
Just kidding.
Yeah, and that there was some controversy that
Yeah.
he was accusing the Family Guy of stealing the character and making him
Oh.
Stewie. And well, he does look like him. But he's only
He
he's only a
very-
kid for a few strips.
Right.
I was really surprised when we find out that he's 36 because he looked really old to me. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked really old to me.
I think it's just because he didn't take care of himself, you know?
Yeah. And all the Jimmys looked like each other.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They had like the same clothes.
Yeah.
It's creepy. Who wears the exact same clothes throughout time?
The Corrigans.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need that shirt again, but 3 sizes bigger.
What about that redheaded girl?
That stole Charlie Brown.
She
This guy did steal from the Family Guy.
was a smooth talker. She knew how to get to the top of buildings even when you weren't supposed to be there. But then she was also an asshole. And the Italian family was so nice and then they were mean to him. That was weird too. I don't know, things just never worked out for the Corrigans.
No.
No.
No. So what was the moral of this story? Some families are just losers?
Yeah, apparently.
Yes,
Have a
is there-
strong father figure? I don't know.
What is the moral of
Yeah.
this story?
If your father abandons you on top of a building, you're gonna have a bad life.
I think it's just Chris Ware's bitterness coming out towards his own father.
So there's
Even
no...
though he says there's no connection, it's like,
Yeah, he
well,
says it's not autobiographical.
really? I don't know. It kind of is.
Yeah.
So there is no moral? Is there a moral? There's got to be a
mean-
moral. No, there's no moral. It's just...
I didn't really pick up any.
It's just 400 pages of drawings.
Yeah, just depressed drugs.
It's, yeah. Unlike even in his he would have a fantasy, and even in his fantasy, it will end badly.
Right. Who has fantasies like that? Like, aren't those supposed to be the good things?
But, you know, we're left with a ray of hope at the end because he meets that girl on Thanksgiving, that woman in the office.
Right, and she's
True.
sitting in the same spot that the guy who's left the note saying,
Oh,
"You never
man.
looked at me."
I hope...
He's contemplating suicide, and then she stands up and says, "Hello," and she notices him,
Right.
and so there's a little tiny bit of hope.
As long as she doesn't dress up as Superwoman
Jump off.
a building.
Right.
Yeah. It's just the same book over again.
No.
Yeah.
So Jimmy
Full
Corrigan,
cycle.
smartest kid on earth.
Most depressed kid on earth.
Most depressed adult. He's probably a happy
Well, that's
kid.
true. Well, yeah.
I thought you should show some of the drawings.
Yeah, we should.
Dude.
Yeah, the artwork is
we
really
didn't cut
good.
up. You can make copies. You can make copies and cut things out. It's kind of cool. Also, there's a quiz at the beginning. I wasn't even supposed to read this book, apparently.
Uh-oh.
It says, begin. Exam, begin. Question 1, are you A, male, B, female? If B, you may stop. Put down your booklet. All others continue.
And you still read it.
I still read it. Chris Ware, you have no power over me. Yeah, so
I just made you read a 400-page book.
Yeah, exactly. That's power.
that was the power of Google.
Yeah.
That was not the power of Chris Ware. Okay, it was kind of the power of Chris Ware.
But yeah, you can see a lot.
Yeah, this was my
yeah.
favorite right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. So. Oh yeah, and then this made me want to build the. No, not this one. Yeah,
This
this guy right
Yep.
here. And there were also like cards, like fun fact cards in there. There was all sorts of goodies. All sorts of goodies. There's the sister. I don't know. Here you go. You want to touch it?
Uh-oh. That's a weird question.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, he definitely looks older than 36.
Yeah.
I would guess like 55 at least.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
See, this is what makes me think it's not a fan. You know, the guy jumping off the building, people keep saying it's a fantasy. But there's a newspaper
Right.
article talking about some guy dressed as Superman and leaps to his death. Come on, that's not.
It's just a really elaborate fantasy.
Yeah. But yeah, but you know, if you're reading this week to week to week,
Right.
you're gonna have 7 pages. You're gonna have an entire week of just blank drawings, and that's, you know, it's interesting. But what does it say about the story? How does it move the story forward? Nobody knows.
So would you recommend this book to someone? Because I wouldn't.
It wouldn't be the first graphic novel I would try to get someone to read to get into graphic novels by any means.
I mean, you had a suggestion? You were... Really? There was something else we could have read?
Yeah.
We could have read it.
We could have read Persepolis for one.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. My sister wants to read Persepolis.
Ghost World, I would recommend.
You
It's
could-
very good.
Any Alan Moore novel.
Yeah.
Frank Miller, Sin City.
Well, we'll have to revisit this genre
Yeah.
with the...
It is kind of hard. I don't know. I'm not as good as discussing graphic novels because I don't really understand a lot of the illustrations and techniques and what they symbolize. I'm better at... I don't know if that makes any sense.
No,
but
that totally makes sense. Me
like-
neither.
yeah, it's a medium that I'm not familiar with on a critiquing basis. I'm just like, ooh, pictures. So,
Yeah, we thought this was going to be an easy episode.
Because
And
it's pictures. I
Right.
did read it in 3 hours.
Did you?
Yeah, it is.
I sat down and read it in 3 hours. But
I didn't time myself, but yeah.
I
Well,
suppose, yeah.
and you read it all in one sitting. See, I didn't, and then you had to remind yourself what just happened because it's so trippy that if you lose that continuity, you're like,
yeah, it's hard
Right.
to.
what?
It goes back in time. and-
yeah, it actually probably helped you. That's probably why you picked up on, like, the note and everything.
Well, then I
One
also read a lot online about people
okay.
deconstructing it. There's a lot about race relations because his sister is black and his stepsister, and there's a lot about race relations that you kind of pick up through the whole book that, you know, I didn't notice, and so that.
I had no idea.
Either. It's
Yeah.
like- but then when you read it, it's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. You
Huh.
know, about how you relate. You know, we're all related, and we don't even realize we're related because of how weird this country was put together. And there's a lot of, you know, imagery at the World's Fair or at the Expo, where, you know, you got, you know, blackface and a lot of.
Well, I
Extended
recognized a lot of like racist language, but I guess outside of that, I didn't really pick up on that.
And the racist grandfather.
Oh my gosh, that was there. I mean,
Who fathered, or, you know, a black child, so.
but the 100-year-old grandfather. So like when he's older and he's all like, I don't think they let the coloreds in for the fair but one day, and then the parents just go, Jesus Christ, Dad, seriously, can't you just can it? You know, because, you know,
But it was
their kid is
true.
black.
Right.
Well, yeah, but it was funny to hear that banter, because that's exactly what the guy said. Well, it's true, yeah, but can't you? Jeez, you know. I think they even dropped an F-bomb in there for that conversation in the car. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes is where he meets his dad at the diner, and it goes on for just like 7-8 pages. The dad's talking, and he never talks once, and it just goes on and on and on. And you see how racist he is, and how he's talking about all the women he slept with, and giving him all this advice.
I know he was talking about all the different races of women that he's slept with, but that he'd never done a black chick.
But he wants to do a black chick.
It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm reading this. I can't believe I'm reading this.
Hey, you picked it.
I know. I can't believe I picked this.
I judged you each page. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, field sobriety test. Since Steve knows this book better than anybody.
Yes.
Quiz us.
Oh, that's hard.
Bum, bum, bum.
I used up all my good trivia.
Nah.
Yeah.
Did you read all
We've
the?
escaped.
Did you read all the inside cover stuff?
It's so hard,
Backside
so
cover?
tiny.
It's
Yeah,
but
see,
you
I
have
didn't
your
read
reading
it.
glasses,
I
so
did.
it's fine.
That was hard. But then it's fun because he's saying what he's saying in here is he's saying I'm deconstructing. This is I found a new way to tell a story, and here's how you'd read the story. So he's actually giving you instructions on how to do the visual medium and that. It's all tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it's like, do you think that this is a cat and a mouse's head? If so, you're fine.
What was the comic with the cat and the mouse, and the mouse was always throwing a brick at the cat?
Tom and Jerry?
No, this was. Oh god.
Ren and Stimpy.
No, this was.
Crazy Cat.
Yeah, I think it was Crazy Cat. And Ertzat, and the mouse was Ertzat. This was like from the 1800s. That was the first comic, one of the first comic strips. And he has that running. He has this running through the whole book. You'll see the mouse throwing bricks. And there's one fantasy scene where he's like killing somebody with bricks, and it's the mouse.
You could have made me look like an idiot by just posing that as a question.
There's the trivia.
You're drunk
Yeah,
in the back of the car!
Thank God you didn't say that. I just stared blankly.
Yeah, apparently in the 1800s, the funniest thing was a mouse throwing a brick at a cat. That was like...
like David and
It is
Goliath.
pretty funny.
The cat was madly in love with the mouse, and so the cat would throw the...
So my hangover for this book was I'm thankful that my dad actually talked to me. He still does.
That is so weird. I didn't think about my dad once when I read
Really?
this.
That's because you
'Cause
failed
you're
the
a
first
girl.
question. You're a girl. You're
You're
a
a
girl.
girl.
It's the father-son relationship.
Wow.
Totally. You were right, Chris Ware. I should have just turned back.
Yeah, it's like trying to read The Road as a woman. Just kidding.
What's The Road?
It's another book about the father-son relationship. It's also a movie with
Also very
Viggo
depressing.
Mortensen. Yes, it is very depressing.
Yeah.
A ray of hope in it.
If you have
A
any
lot of
books,
kids are depressed in their dads. That's right.
if you have any book suggestions, awesome books that aren't depressing, please send them our way. That would be great. That would help our psyches.
Yeah, we're getting out of the winter. We need some uplifting spring books.
Woohoo! Uplifting spring books.
Maybe a happy graphic novel.
Yeah, exactly.
A comic book.
I get it.
Jimmy Corrigan, Smartest Kid on Earth by Chris Ware.
Chris Ware.
Don't read it. You can if you want to, but really enjoy it. Like, take advantage of all the extra stuff and do the cutouts. And make sure you read it to the end because it's a little happier at the end, but really not much. It's a downer.
Yeah, story-wise it is a downer, but I would explore it for what he brought to the graphic novel as a medium, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, he definitely changed how people draw these and opened up, I think he predates Art Spiegelman and lots of other people that, all the other great illustrators.
You're already farther
I
along
know.
than I am.
High
In that whole
praise. High
lineage.
praise right there. Thank you for joining us. Check us out next episode.
Indeed. We don't even know what we're going to read.